Hello, this is a Leshark and Friends
and Russell
and Russell podcast. And on today's show, we're talking to Russell's very own fitness guru and online trainer, the Rob Morgan. Originally from Wales, insert a variety of jokes here. Thank you. Rob has been on an amazing journey to get to Phuket, spending time in the British Armed Forces and then becoming a fitness guru in London before packing it all up and coming over to Phuket, where he stalked his now wife and has become one of the most sought-after personal trainers on the island. Now, ladies, or men for that matter, because I'm not sexist, during the lockdown, if you need to wash your clothes, you could have just used Rob's washboard. It's lovely. Anyway, enjoy the show. Hello, Rob. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Jay. Doing really well.
Where are you?
I am in Adelaide in South Australia. A little place called Port No Longer.
Come again.
And how are you over there? How's it all the craziness? Is it the same craziness as there is here, or is it a little bit different?
It's not quite as militant, I don't think, from what I've been reading on some of the sites online. I think Australia's done a pretty good job of controlling things. So there is a lot of isolation. There is a lot of social distancing. Most of the businesses are closed. You know, restaurants, bars, clubs, all that sort of stuff. All the gyms are closed. But people have generally done a pretty good job of listening over the last kind of 2 or 3 weeks. And the cases seem to be dropping a little bit. But yeah, it's still a little strange times. But I think there's a little bit more kind of freedom here than there is in Phuket, from what I've heard, with all the provinces getting closed down and checkpoints at every roundabout and whatever else you got going on. And now I think there's an alcohol ban, right? So yeah. Luckily the bottle shops are still open down here in Australia.
Well, you'd like to think if the number one thing you need to survive this particular lockdown would be alcohol, right?
So,
I mean, yeah. But in the infinite wisdom of the powers that be here, they have decided otherwise. So we shall see. Anywho, over to you, Jay.
Well, Rob, you're in Australia right now, but generally you are living in Phuket. Now, obviously, when did you first get to Phuket?
I first moved to Phuket to live in at the end of 2014, December 2014. That's when I kind of moved there permanently. Although it wasn't really permanently, it was kind of give it a few months, 3 months, 6 months, and see how it goes. And then I kind of I never looked back.
Why did you come here? What was the reason you decided to come to Phuket?
It's just one of those places. I've done a lot of traveling. I've traveled to probably about 50 or 60 countries or maybe more. But Phuket's the place that I kept coming back to. And it's kind of hard to describe, I guess, but it just gives me that kind of sense of calm and the simplicity of life and the people, and, you know, just how laid back and chilled out it is. It just really suits my character, I think. And then I was a little bit into Muay Thai, and obviously my background being a fitness trainer, I kind of used to come to Phuket quite frequently to do, well, initially it was just on lads' holidays, but then I used to come up myself, did a bit of traveling on my own, did a bit of backpacking, then I came and did some fitness holidays myself. And then in 2013 I came out, or I went out to Phuket, and then one of
I was about to make a very silly joke about you coming out, but that was very childish, and I won't even.
Okay, I didn't click on. I should have been aware. Yeah, so I came out, And then, 2013, I came out on a training holiday for about 3 or 4 weeks, and met up with some guys who had just started a new gym, a strength and conditioning gym, kind of stayed in touch with them. I had a small PT business in London at the time, and I'd spent a couple of years there building up the business and that type of thing. So it wasn't really my intention to move to Phuket, but the guys that I met kind of reached out and said, we're looking for a new coach, we're expanding, the gym's doing really well, we think you'd be a really good fit. Is this something you're interested in? So it wasn't as if I was looking to move. I just kind of got given the opportunity, and thought about it for a couple of days, and then I decided, why not? Let's do it. It was quite a big decision.
Yeah, massive. Where were you from? Because you obviously got a strong accent. So where are you from? Where did you grow up? What was let's go right back.
So originally I'm from Swansea in South Wales. That's where I grew up. That's where my family is. That's where I call home. But I actually left. First time I left there, I was 16. I joined the army 2 weeks after my 16th birthday. So finished school in July. It was my birthday in August, and then September I was joining the army. So I kind of I guess I flew the nest or fled the nest at quite a young age, and that took me, onto my army career. I was in the army for 8 years, going back and forth to Wales, on leave and on holidays and stuff like that, but never really lived there since.
What were you doing in the army?
Sorry, that was my question. What department? I don't know what the right term is. What department of the army did you go into? Yeah,
so I was a signaller. I was in communications, and I was kind of part of the deal with my dad, because obviously being such a young kid, my mum and dad didn't particularly want me to be joining the army. I was quite a keen kind of young kid who wanted to join the infantry, but my dad said, the only way that they had to sign the paperwork, because I was so young, they said the only way that they'd let me go is if I did something that would give me a trade. And obviously this is in 1999, so at the time telecoms is just starting to grow and boom, and that was decided that I'd go into the communications field, because then it would give me something to fall back on if I didn't stick it out in the army, or if I did decide to come out, then it would give me something to kind of pursue other than just being a soldier.
But even at that point, you had a natural desire to join frontline infantry and go off and do all of that, right? Was that in your mindset?
Yeah, from a young age, I don't know what it was. I wanted to join the army from the age of about 10 or 11. And then when I got to, I think I was 12, I joined the Army Cadets. So one of my mum's very good friends, her son had joined the army, and he'd been through cadets and all that sort of stuff. So she kind of advised, tell him to give this a try and see if he likes it. And again, I joined, I think he's supposed to be 13. I joined when I was 12, and then absolutely loved it, got on really well, spent about 3 or 4 years in the Army Cadet. So I was kind of ready, and I kind of knew a little bit about the culture and what the army was and stuff from then. So when I was 13 and 14, I was going up to the hills in Brecon, cammed up in my greens and rifle, all sorts. So yeah, I just loved it.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I've done some hiking in the Brecons, but not in the military sense.
Yeah.
Well, you because you're obviously you're now a beautiful fitness professional. Was it joining the army was that the training part? Where did the fitness come in? Because you did 8 years in the army, so were you doing fitness? Obviously, you got to be fit to be in the army, but was that when the passion for the fitness came through?
Yeah, that was part of it, I guess. Obviously, from being 16 and throwing in and straight away into basic training, you need to kind of maintain a good level of fitness, and there's mandatory PT 4 or 5 times a week, so it just kind of becomes second nature to you. So there's a requirement to maintain a pretty good level of fitness. And then I think when I got to about 19 or 20, that's when I got a little bit more into the kind of the weights and strength and conditioning and that kind of side of it. And that's where my interest kind of grew there. And then it's just something that I always pursued. And yeah, just something I really enjoyed and I was passionate about. And when I spent 8 years in the army, but then I spent another 3 years as a military contractor working out in the Middle East in Afghanistan. And when I decided to kind of wrap that up, I decided that fitness was the thing, the fire that was burning inside of me that would give me the kind of passion. So that's when I decided I want to pursue it. When I was working in Afghanistan, I was kind of, the reason I was there essentially was all kind of down to money. It was pretty well paid. It was tax-free. We weren't spending any money, so everything was getting banked. But that essentially wasn't, kind of a driving force for me. So, fitness, helping people, and just going down that avenue is what I decided to kind of pursue when I wrapped all that up.
What were you doing what was the Afghanistan, the contractor? What was you actually contracted to do? Because in my mind, you're dressed up and running around, doing what contractors do, killing people and stuff. And I know that's a stupid thing to say, but what was the contract? What was you actually doing?
Yeah, I wasn't quite a mercenary, running around killing people. But essentially, communications was my kind of speciality. So when I went back out, essentially, not within the military, but within the kind of the Ministry of Defence and NATO, there's a requirement for some kind of regularity. Obviously, the troops are switching out every kind of 4 to 6 months. So there's kind of civilian companies that stay out there permanently to have an element of consistency on the ground. So we were our role was to help set up and provide communication links that the military would then use. So yeah, it wasn't kind of frontline stuff. It wasn't like a security bodyguard kind of job running around with the troops, but we would basically set up satellite links and radio links, and then we'd maintain them and go out and we'd repair them and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. So you spent 8 years in the army, 3 years doing the private contracting. So
yeah,
and then from where did you end up after Afghanistan? Where did you land next?
So after I finished up in Afghanistan, while I was out in Afghanistan, I was slowly starting to build up all my kind of qualifications for fitness, and I was on my leave. I would go away and do a kettlebell course or a TRX course, and I'd kind of started to build up all my kind of credentials. Qualified as a trainer, and then I'd go and do my exams when I got back and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of got to a point where I was kind of fully qualified. Obviously doing the job that I was doing, training, physical fitness with all the guys I was working with and that kind of stuff. I decided, going back to Wales, particularly where I'm from, I come from a small town just outside Swansea. The opportunity there for a personal trainer like 7, 8 years ago was pretty small. So I decided that I wanted to go to London, obviously the capital. That's where I had more of an opportunity to kind of cut my teeth, probably earn a little bit more money, and have a little bit of success with it as well. So initially when I went to sorry, yeah.
How old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 36.
Oh, same as me.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
So you went to the big smoke in London, and did you know anybody in London, or did you just go, right, that's where people have got cash, they want to be trained, that's where kind of their monopolist is, so that's where you're going to go. So what was your just go there?
Pretty much, yeah. I had a couple of friends that had lived in London from school and stuff like that. And then I had one guy in particular that I knew that he was working as a kind of like a communications engineer for the London Stock Exchange. So he got me, I kind of ended up getting a role there. And the idea was that I would do that, and then concurrently I would slowly start to build up. Oh, how lovely.
Just to let you know, listen, I've just turned on, I've got some fairy lights behind me in my bedroom where I record this, and I've just put them on because I thought it was time to put some fairy lights on.
Yeah, set the ambience.
Yeah.
Matches my t-shirt.
I'm just going to say, it matches the shirt as well.
Yeah.
I've got a nipple on my shirt somewhere, I think. Not my nipple, but there's actually a lady's nipple. I think it's covered up. Yeah.
We seem to have segued.
Sorry, yeah, I went off the fairy lights. So you're in London communications and doing the PT stuff. Now, can I just ask, Rob, when did you first get a six-pack?
Probably when I was born, when I came out of the womb, I reckon. Yeah, probably. Standard issue is I was born like this, you know.
See you coming
out. That's the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in once again.
So sorry, so you're in London, and this is where. So with you've done all your the qualifications and the training and stuff. So, and were you trying to do PT stuff on the side, or were you going to? Because the people that I know.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, I needed to build up number one, my experience. Number two, a reputation and some contacts and some networks. Because obviously, to go and live in London, it's not cheap. So to pay rent and get by and to just go and try and find clients would have been quite difficult. So the idea was I went into this role, and then concurrently I was kind of slowly building up the PT side of it. And I actually started doing military boot camps in the parks in London, outside work. So I did that, again, just to get a bit more experience and to kind of get a bit of exposure and the rest of it. And then about 6 months after I moved there, I was living in Wimbledon in southwest London. And then I just decided, sod it, I've been here long enough now. I'm just going to kind of throw everything in and kind of just start growing the business.
So just set yourself up on your own as an individual trainer, as your own company.
Yeah, like a freelance personal trainer.
Okay. Did you have a facility and lots of equipment, or was it more just like, I know from like the training that we do is a lot of it can be quite simple with body weight exercises and so forth. So how did you cross that sort of bridge?
Yeah, my whole philosophy, and when I first started as a trainer, and it kind of developed from my time in Afghanistan in terms of the simplicity of it. So the brand is keep it simple fitness. So the idea is, regardless of what you've got available or where you are, there's always a way to make it work. So that's what I wanted to kind of drive home. But then I did a bit of a mixture. I did continue doing some outdoor stuff in some of the parks in London in the summer. But then mainly I was based in a gym called Gym Box in Shepherd's Bush. And again, I went in there as a kind of a newbie trainer without any experience. It's one of the biggest, most popular gyms with some really good trainers, and that's kind of why I went in there. I thought, right, this is a place to kind of cut my teeth and prove that I've got what it takes to make a success. So the majority of my work was there, but then I did some freelance stuff in the parks and people's homes and stuff like that as well.
So and how long were you in London for?
I think it was about 2 years by the time I left.
And at this point, and from London, you ended up in Phuket, is that correct?
Yeah.
So prior to you being sort of landing here based, I think you said 2014, had you traveled here before anyway?
Yeah, like I said, so I think I first came to Phuket. I first came to Thailand first came to Thailand after a tour of Iraq in 2004. So quite a long time ago, but didn't come to Phuket on that trip. I think the first time I came to Phuket was 2007. On like a round the world, me and my mate did like a round the world 6-month tour of Asia and Australia and New Zealand and all that kind of stuff. Then came back, I think, 2010, 2011, 2013. So I'd probably been there like 5 or 6 times by this point.
Cool. Okay, those. And so I suppose, go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I was going to ask. Now, obviously, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here. When did you meet Jess?
So that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Let's jump straight to the good stuff, is it, boys?
Yeah.
Where is she?
Out of the way.
Well done. Let me see Jess.
She's in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You've done that. Yeah.
So yeah, we met in 2017. So pretty much 3 years ago this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you met here in Phuket?
We met in Phuket, yeah. So I'd been there 2014, or end of 2014, so I'd been there like kind of 2.5 years. I think she'd been there about a year less than me, so she'd been there about 18 months. And then, yeah, we met in April 2017.
So where did you meet? How did all that come about?
Well, you might have heard this story, Russ, if you hadn't bugged out early in the wedding.
Yeah.
Ooh, then we'll get to that bit in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we met on Instagram, believe it or not. She kind of started following me and started liking a few of my photos, and then started kind of reacting to some of my stories and kept sending me all these messages and kind of pursuing me to kind of take her out and all this kind of stuff.
So she stalked you, basically.
Are you saying that she stalked you? You didn't stalk her?
Yeah, but okay, in reverse. It was the other way around. It was me that was doing the stalking.
There you go. So for those of you that I should explain, Jess is a friend of Russell and mine, and also is now Rob's beautiful wife. And you've got a little bubby on the way, but we'll talk about the bubby a bit later. So just go back to the story about, so Russell, what's this about the wedding, please? Thank you.
Russell was actually the celebrant at our wedding, his little side hustle. So Russell actually married us. And as well as doing the celebrant, he also was supposed to be doing the MCing. But about 10 minutes before the ceremony, he decided to tell us that he couldn't do it because he had an emergency with the dogs, I think. So one of my mates had to step up as a last man.
Yeah. Well, it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, it did.
All right. So Jess was stalking you. You were
clearly.
Jess, and
I was stalking Jess. Yeah.
At that time, you were doing personal training down south of Phuket.
Yeah, I was down in Rawai at the time. Yeah, I'd actually I just started a fitness escape business. I started that in March 2017. Me and Jess met the following month, so I just started that, which was essentially a kind of personal fitness escape. So I had a big villa down in Rawai. And a little team of staff, and people would come out and stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months to try and create some transformation within their lives. So I kind of set that up in March.
That sounds like a cult, not a training facility.
No, not cult. Yeah, kind of. Just people that needed to kind of get away. Obviously, you boys both living in Phuket know it's kind of got that aura about it. It's a good place for people to kind of escape to and forget all the stuff that they're dealing with, or not forget all the stuff but kind of put it on the back burner. And yeah, people that were looking to kind of lose weight or to just try and make some healthy changes, but were struggling to do it in their own environments, wherever that was. Just a chance to come out into like a fully kind of immersive environment and just focus on themselves. So I did the fitness coaching there, but it was a little bit more educational as well. So, you know, we used to run workshops on all different aspects of health. We do meditation, yoga, you know, kind of hiking up around the country, activities, not the country, the island, sorry. We'd go kayaking, we'd go rock climbing. Yeah, so that's what I was doing at the time.
Sounds good. Just going back to the Instagram stuff, because you are prime Instagrammable age. Was that something you did? Because look, now I'm going to be very honest here. You're a very, very good looking guy. Almost better looking than Liam from last week, to be fair, who was a handsome. No, is Liam? But
Sorry, Rob.
Russ has got my back. Cheers, Russ.
I think body-wise, not that Rob's naked on the screen right now, but body-wise, I think Rob has got probably the best body I've ever seen in my life. I'm a 44-year-old man. I can appreciate other men now. I've got to my age, I can do that, and I'm very happy with that. But with the Instagram stuff, was that you jumping on that? Not the bandwagon is the wrong thing. Were you trying to be an Instagram not celebrity is the wrong word. Were you trying to be an Instagram star, or were you just doing it to promote your business? Because you have got a beautiful Instagram account as well.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I had kind of no intention on being an Instagram celebrity or an influencer, or, you know, kind of whatever you want to call it. I'd started to kind of grow a bit of a following, obviously from where I was and the kind of lifestyle I was living. And then where I worked previously to that, the gym that I was working at, we'd get people from all around the world come in, you know, so I kind of grew my following there to a certain extent, which is where a lot of the early kind of followers that I've got. I mean, I've got a massive following. I've got like 6,000 or 7,000, but there was no intention set out to try and build a massive following. It essentially just kind of happened naturally and organically.
Listen, you've got more followers than Russell and I put together, mate. So you're because obviously
this podcast is gaining traction. So
slowly, yeah, very slowly. It would help if we actually put pictures on Instagram for the podcast, and that's something I need to get doing. Anyway, but Jess is Jess obviously as your beautiful wife has embraced the Instagram influencer, because that's how I met her, through that from a project I was working on.
Okay.
So you don't. That's not something you do. You just grew because of who you are and where you were and what you were doing.
Yeah, well, most of my content was kind of fitness based, so it's essentially a way of kind of growing or expanding my my network and trying to put some content out that was helpful to people, and then obviously trying also to, as a way of marketing myself, to try and bring in new clients. And particularly when I set up the Revival Escape, which is essentially the business I was working on at the time, I needed to expand and to grow that to kind of draw people in, because people were coming from all over the world. So.
And you don't do that anymore? That's not something that's on the radar anymore, the retreat kind of thing?
I kind of we kind of reinvented it with a friend and colleague of mine, Mark Mariani, that lives on the island. So that we changed the business model up from where it was, because where it was, I ended up, I think, a year and a half, 18 months. But it was very kind of consuming of me. It needed a lot of energy and time, and you know, kind of being the only guy, or not the only guy, but being the head of the whole business and trying to manage staff, and then trying to market to bring in new clients, and then trying to deliver a product and dealing with all the problems and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't really a sustainable business model in that sense. So, I mean, it was quite successful. I got a lot of people in. I was busy, you know, I was kind of fully booked, sold out. but it wasn't sustainable for me to continue that, particularly as me and Jess had started to develop a relationship, and we kind of got engaged at this point and started thinking about, different things and other priorities. So I essentially got together with a mate of mine, Mark, who was running a separate fitness escape for a different company. And then we essentially put our heads together and merged the two things. So the product and the business is still live, but we're running it at Tanyapura. So it takes away the necessity for me to have a staff and an actual villa and facility. So we just kind of sub that out to Tanyapura.
So basically, the package itself really is you and Mark, and you could transplant that wherever you guys go. You could take that model and place it.
Essentially, yeah, we could take it to Bali or to the Maldives or wherever. Really, it's we spend a lot of time putting the actual product together and the deliverables in terms of what it is and what it creates for the client, and the people that come on the escapes, in terms of helping them create positive personal change in their lives. But yeah, it can pretty much be run from anywhere.
What's your favorite exercise?
My favorite exercise?
Yeah.
Probably the pull-up.
Oh, behave. Really? No.
Yeah, the pull-up.
I like the pull-up. The pull-up's a good one because, I'm not very good at pull-ups. I do 2, and I think that's enough.
Yeah. No, you can't beat a pull-up. Great compound movement.
You
needs
a pull-up.
What's yours, mate? What's yours?
Mine is called just surviving, just getting up and washing. And
do you want to know what Russell's is?
Go on.
The Bulgarian split squat.
Oh yeah. That's my go-to favorite.
It's actually one of my favorites as well for the lower body.
Yeah.
Why is it a Bulgarian split squat?
It derived from Eastern Europe, one of the Olympic teams who were trying to develop their strength in the squat, decided to take it onto a single leg and remove the back leg to create more of a stability demand, and I think that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a horrible exercise.
I think one of my favourite exercises is hula hoop. I do like a good
hula hoop. Yeah. It's quite popular on Phuket, especially in some of the gyms.
Yeah.
Some of the Russian ladies like that one.
Yeah.
I like the one.
A couple of quick questions for you.
Oh, go on.
No, so in terms of your fitness retreats, so they're still going, and the running the Tanyapura. Have you got any coming up? I mean, obviously, given what's happening in the world at the minute, I guess a lot of things are obviously on hold. But I mean, taking the whole COVID-19 thing out of the equation, do you try and run a certain amount each year, or is it more on a
it's kind of on the back burner at the minute. Obviously, with everything going on, all the hotels shut down. So myself and Mark have kind of agreed that it's probably not going to be until November or possibly December, the start of the next high season, is probably when we're going to look to do our next one. Obviously, with everything that's going on, it's not really worth kind of.
Sure.
It's going to be interesting times now to see what people's habits are like in terms of wanting to travel, wanting to come halfway around the world, come into somewhere like Phuket. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how the next kind of few weeks and months pans out, and hopefully it doesn't have too much of an impact on tourism and the island as a whole.
Well, this brings me on to my second point, because you're probably one of the few industries and one of the few people in a said industry that are actually potentially in quite a good space at the moment, if you think about it. Because people are stuck at home. So number one, we've all got the time. So if they want to do a little bit of training, we've got the time to do it, we might as well. And your process and your keeping it simple means that you don't have to have a huge setup of weights and bands and God knows what at your house. There's a lot that people can be doing without any equipment that you could help them to do. Number two, absolutely. I would also argue that with everyone being in lockdown, most people are just sitting at home, I know I would be doing this if I wasn't doing the program with you. That time would be spent gorging fucking Haagen-Dazs and binging Netflix. So everyone's going to come out of this about 14 stone heavier and think, fuck me, I've got to do something now. Hence, where you come in.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely going to be an opportunity there. I would imagine that the majority of people now are probably going to be adding a couple of kilos to the old waistline. Number one, their activity level is going to drop a lot, whether they're not working anymore, they're not getting out of the house, they're not doing the things that they would have been doing. So there's that aspect, but also, people are in the house, they're bored, there's nothing else to do. That's when people kind of tend to have a look to see what's in the fridge or see what's left in the cupboard, and people's at the end of the day, people's enjoyment's now being taken away. There's no entertainment, there's no sports, there's nothing going on they can enjoy. So food's one of the few enjoyments that people have probably got left. So I do imagine that that my kind of fitness industry in particular might benefit from that. But not just the fitness industry. I think there's a lot of opportunities that are going to come from a lot of industries once this all kind of blows over. It's pretty dark and gloomy at the minute, particularly for people and businesses that are struggling and people are losing their jobs and stuff like that. But I'm sure there'll be some opportunities that come out the other side as well.
And I think, Rob, on that note, you haven't listened to our podcast of positivity that Russell and I did. And I think one of the things that I want to mention, though, is you're right. People are, I think, though, hold on, let me explain this in the correct way. We mentioned that people are going to put a couple of kilos on, but there seems to be a lot of people that are getting now training at home. They're doing some, and I think there is a positiveness in that people are spending. I mean, okay, I don't need to see it on Facebook every 5 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone. You don't need to upload it and show me, but it's nice to see that people are actually getting active a little bit, doing some squats, doing some different bits and pieces. So there is a positiveness to the being locked down, that a lot of people are, trying to stay active as much as possible.
Yeah, that's true. And people have got more time on their hands now, right? So it's like, what else am I going to do? Why not try and do a little workout, a little home workout? I know there's myself, I've been putting lots of content out to try and get people engaged and to get people thinking about their fitness. And there's a whole plethora of trainers and coaches out there doing the same thing. So the information's there for people. And on the positive side, I do imagine that it's actually getting some people into fitness, because the excuses are gone now. The excuse, I don't have time, or I've got too much work going on, or I've got to pick the kids up from school, or whatever. You're in the house. Those excuses have been removed. So possibly it's actually a better time for them to make a start.
Yeah, sorry, Russ. I know more about it because I'm currently enrolled in one of your programs, so I know how it all works. But just for the millions of listeners to this particular podcast, or at least 4, just your current program in terms of how you do things online with your videos and with your app, which is really good. So how does that all work?
So like I mentioned, KIS Fitness, or Keep It Simple Fitness, is kind of what I developed when I first started coaching and when I first grew that business in London, and it's something that I've continued to do. So when I left London, like I said, I'd spent a lot of time building up a client base, and I was quite popular and in demand. So I actually transitioned a lot of my clients at the time into online coaching. So when I first moved to Thailand, one of the biggest things that was kind of stopping me from coming was the fact that all these people were now kind of relying on me for their fitness and their health. So I had a kind of sense of guilt about that. So I decided to kind of put some work into developing this online platform that I can continue to support them with, even while I was in Thailand. So, as far back as end of 2014, I've been doing online coaching. Some periods have been a little bit busier than others for me, depending on what the kind of projects I've had going on. But over the last kind of probably 18 months to 2 years, that's been my main my main kind of project that I've been working on and kind of building and developing that. And, you know, as you've experienced, putting the act together and building out all the programming and creating all the video content and that side of things. So it's essentially, you know, as you've experienced, it works in a few different ways. What I find people need is, number one, is you know, professional coaching with well thought out programs that are easy to understand and follow, that don't overwhelm people and kind of put them off. Secondly is thinking about the nutrition and understanding the amount and types of foods that they need to be nourishing their body. And then thirdly, it's the accountability and the support, to know that somebody's there to support them and to answer any questions, or to kind of give them that little push or a little kick of the ass that they might not get from their friends or their family or their partner or who else, or just themselves, you know?
No, and I agree with all of that completely, and I would actually do it the other way around. For me, the accountability and the support and the feedback for me is paramount, because without that, you know, Jay aside, we'll all do some exercise, and like today, all right, today I wasn't really feeling it, but if I wasn't doing this sort of program, if I wasn't invested in the secrets of what we're doing, I would just have given up and walked away from it, and then I've left it tomorrow, and all of a sudden a week has gone by and I've done nothing. Whereas now I'm invested. I know you're going to be saying, hey, you know, I see you missed a workout, what's going on? So there's that constant follow-up, which I think is important for people, just to get that little extra push that, you know, I've got to do this. But it's not in a militant way. It's just that, you know, we're supporting you and getting you kind of all through, which I think is, for me, the most important part.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the accountability and the support is often the kind of most valuable thing out of the program. Because at the end of the day, anybody can go online and get a program to follow, right? But it's having that kind of that extra level of support and coaching to kind of make sure that you do it. And I actually, if somebody misses a workout, I actually get personally offended. So I want to know why they missed that workout. I take it quite personally.
Yeah, don't mess with Rob. He's he knows what he's doing. He could hurt us. I just like to, I'm exercising, Russell. I go for a run every night, and I'm doing some you know, just some simple stuff outside on my yoga mat. And it's more so then when I go and have 2 beers in the evening when I'm cooking dinner for the kids, I don't feel so guilty. But that's how, you know, at the end of the day, I am trying to do a little bit of exercise. But yeah, I mean, I even dug out my old TRX the other day, and I thought, oh, I'll hang that up one day. And I don't know where it's gone. But I did pull it out, so to speak. Not him, but the TRX.
Yeah.
Rob, can I just ask if people want to, we will put all your links and stuff in the description of the podcast when we put it up. Just mention it now. How do people find your workout or you or whatever, just quickly?
So my Instagram is the.robmorgan. You can find me on there. The only one, the one and only. And then my website is www.kis-fitness.com. So KIS-fitness.com. Keep it simple, fitness.
Can I ask a couple of other questions? You're obviously into sports and into health and fitness. What sort of sports are you? Because you're a Welsh guy, and we love the Welsh. Russell doesn't, apparently. I do. I'm very passionate. I went on holiday to Pembrokeshire many times. I went to Pembroke Castle many times, so that makes me half Welsh. Nice. Russell's always said he hated the Welsh, and he doesn't eat leeks, and he has a problem with sheep, and I don't know. That's not nothing. I don't know what the issue is. What sport are you into? Any other sports apart from fitness?
Yeah, rugby was my kind of main sport. Obviously, being a Welshman, it's our kind of national sport, and it's one of the, you know, it's the sport that we've probably had more success in over the last kind of 10 to 15 years. Probably the reason Russell hates the Welsh so much is because we beat them so much in the rugby, I would have thought, in recent times.
Did you play rugby? Because you do look, I mean, the look of you, to me, looks like obviously either a prop or a second row, just with the high...
Which shows that you know nothing about rugby.
I know a lot about that.
I'm actually a bit small for a prop and very small for a second row. I need to be another foot taller, I think, for that.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
But yeah, I played rugby at school. I wasn't the best at rugby, I'll admit, but I did used to enjoy it. And then I played for a little while I was in the army as well. So yeah, it's a keen interest, and I love watching the internationals. You know, the Six Nations and the World Cup, and unfortunately, the Six Nations have just been cut short, or maybe fortunately for Wales, because they weren't having a very good tournament. But yeah, I love rugby. Keen football fan as well, although not as since moving to Phuket, I've kind of lost a little bit of that, just due to the being out of the, you know, kind of British society and not having it kind of all over the place, and the time difference, not being able to watch a lot of the games.
Yeah, fair enough. Happy days. So, sorry, you going to say something?
No, I was waiting for you to ask. I was waiting for you, Russ, to ask your go-to question.
So, well, I've got two. I've actually got two, because I think we should, and you're going to like this, Jay. First off is, what, if anything, have you got on your bucket list?
So I don't really have a bucket list per se. I've actually, I think anything that I've ever wanted to do, I've kind of gone out there and done it. I've done quite a lot. But I think the one thing that I am planning to do, or I would like to do, is to go and see the Northern Lights with Jess, and then when the baby's born. So within the next couple of years, to either get up to Iceland or Finland or one of those countries and do the whole kind of igloo experience and see the Northern Lights and all that kind of stuff.
I've got a feeling Jess is going to love the snow and the cold, the ice.
Yeah.
She strikes me as that type of person. If you follow her Instagram account, you'll know that she's built for the snow and the ice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different because we spend so much, obviously, living in Phuket, right? Hot and tropical.
Exactly.
It's kind of a different thing.
No, absolutely.
Rob, just before Russ asks his second question, how is everything going with the pregnancy and stuff? Is everything all right? Everything going well?
Pretty good, mate. Yeah, we're 3 weeks out, so the baby's due 3 weeks tomorrow, and luckily we haven't had any complications so far. Obviously, it's our first baby, so as far as we know, it's been a pretty good pregnancy, apart from the coronavirus and COVID-19 and everything that's going on. So pregnancy is going pretty well. Jess is starting to get a little bit uncomfortable now, and you know, not sleeping very well and that sort of stuff. But in terms of health and how the baby's developed, then it's all looking good.
Now,
and do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Okay. You got names in mind?
No, don't tell us.
No, I can't. We've got a couple little short list. I was trying to get a little Welsh name in there, but
that's what I was angling towards.
As it's just a question, because I follow Jess. Obviously, she's a friend as well as I do check out her Instagram. Not stalking like you did, to be fair. A little bit. She seems to come across. She's a beautiful pregnant lady, and some of the pictures she's been taking are absolutely stunning. However, I've been through 2 children. I say been through, sounds like not a tour of duty, not like what you've been through, but I went through 2 children, and it was 2 pregnancies with 1 crazy wife. So is everything all rosy with Jess, or were there times where she did go a little bit nuts?
She's starting to get a little bit more kind of irritable, let's say, but I think that's just part and parcel of the pregnancy, right? And she's been following this app, and it basically says word for word like how you're going to feel and the things that you're going to experience and how your body's going to change and all this stuff. So as soon as she's experiencing something or feeling something, and then you know she can't understand why, and then we'll go into the app and it'll say, this day you may feel this way, or this is the reason why. So you know there's reasons for it. So you know I understand that.
Well, on just before I let Russell ask his second question, I just want to wish you all the best for it, because, mate, I've been through it, and It's a brilliant, brilliant thing. It'll change your life forever. It already has changed your life, and it will just change your life forever. And it'll be hard graft for you, mate, but congratulations, and we're looking forward to seeing the little one when she does pop out.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Which leads me beautifully on to the next question. In terms of everything that's going on at the minute, and as Jay alluded to earlier, we did a podcast extra the other day on taking positive themes from what is otherwise a rather morbid and crazy, dire situation at the minute that we all find ourselves in. So if there was one positive element that you could take out of this, what would that be?
Out of the coronavirus kind of...
Yeah, out of this whole sort of situation.
For myself or for others?
Either. What anything that kind of springs to mind?
I think, firstly, it's the time or an opportunity to spend time with your family and your loved ones, right? And to actually spend some quality time with them doing things that you usually wouldn't get the chance to do. So we've been pretty much, not that we'd be doing a great deal anyway because Jess is pregnant, but we're spending pretty much every minute of the day together. And for a lot of families out there, I imagine if both parents are working and the kids are away at school, now they're getting an opportunity to spend, all day together. They're getting an opportunity to kind of homeschool the kids, and dad hasn't got to go off to work, so he's got a chance to play and all this sort of stuff. So I guess it's a time to spend time with your family and actually appreciate the quality time that we've now got without having an excuse. We're not being able to.
They're little bastards. They get up to her. The house is a mess. They go outside. They get muddy. They come back. They're muddy again. They get changed. And real shit. I hate it. Yeah, it's a good time to spend time with kids, Rob. Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Can we keep that little snippet, right? And we're going to redo this podcast in like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Listen, Rob, you've been absolute pleasure. It's been really interesting. And look, we do wish you all the... I didn't realise that you're in the armed forces, and for that, I actually, from a personal thing, I just want to thank you, because I think anyone who's in the armed forces deserves a huge respect. So thank you very much for that. We wish you all the best.
A massive good luck and congratulations.
And when will you be back in Phuket? Obviously, if the virus wasn't going over, but when do you reckon you'll be back over here?
Yeah, good question. The idea was initially that we would, as soon as the baby's had her injections and all that sort of stuff and was fit to travel, the plan was to fly from here to Wales, spend a month or so in Wales, obviously introducing the baby to all my family and spending some time there. And then we would be coming back to Phuket in about July. But the most important thing now is making sure that it's a safe environment for us and the baby to travel. So we may actually end up getting held up here a little bit longer. The borders are actually closed here at the moment. And also I think the borders are closed in Phuket as well, right? So
correct, yeah.
Just got to see how it plays out, and hopefully try and get back there sometime in the summer, whether it's July, August, September, perhaps, who knows, but as soon as possible, really.
Cool,
man.
All right, mate. Well, in the meantime, all the very, very best to you and to Jess and to family. Take it easy. We'll obviously be in touch fairly shortly.
Yeah.
Robert,
rest day tomorrow.
Thank you, and make sure you train Russell a little bit harder, because he has been telling me recently that your workouts have been a little bit... I think he used the word, it was like a little girl, whimpering. He was, it was too easy for him. And all this.
Sounds about right, yeah. He's a glutton for punishment.
Thank you very much. We'll finish off here. We're going to take a quick screenshot. So if I can just ask you to smile nicely. He's so handsome. So Rob, look, thank you very much. Love to Jess, love to the bub, and I hope everything goes well. And once again, thank you very much for being on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, lads. Thanks for having me on, and have an awesome day.
Thanks.
Take care.
See you later.
Cheers, buddy.
Hey!
I like him a lot.
Oh, Rob's awesome.
I've met him. Listen, I know Jess, and I know Jess's sister, and I know Jess's dad really well, and Jess's mum, because I know the family really well. I've never really met. I've met Rob a couple of times in passing, but I like him a lot. What a lovely man. What a lovely. And I'm not just saying that because hopefully he's going to listen to the podcast back again. I will mention, though, they did ask me to DJ at their wedding, and they dropped me for a band. So, to them. But no, what a lovely man. And honestly, the whole army thing, once again, I'm going to say thank you and clap. Because
I knew about that, but only very recently.
I didn't know. And as I said, there's a couple of guys, like Barry Buck was one on the island that I would always appreciate and say thank you to when I saw him, especially on different remembrance days. There's another one called Callum, who he's actually a bodybuilder, huge guy. He's another one. No, I've got a lot. What a lovely guy. I can see why Jess fell for him now. You know, he is, you're right, Liam probably is better looking, but he's got a hell of a body on him.
He's pretty fit, I'll give him that.
Really fit. Do you know what? It does, when you start going, hello, that's not... For those ones who aren't watching, maybe we should do video podcasts, I think, from now on, because they
some shits and giggles of it, yeah. So, but no, in terms of what he does, and like his online coaching, like, so I've been doing a program with him for 6 weeks now, maybe a bit longer. So, and it was more, every individual is different in terms of what they want from an exercise program. Some people much prefer doing their own thing in their own time, in their own way. Other people need to be in a gym. Other people just need other people there. For me, I need either other people around me or someone to go through a process with. And in the way he does it, it's been he'll write out a plan. You follow it day by day, step by step. He's always there. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And he's on the ball with being sort of encouraging and engaging about it, which for me, I really like, because I kind of need that. I think I think the way he's done it, the app is fantastic. It's really easy to use, very simple. And I think he's cracked something there that otherwise isn't really readily available.
Okay, well, we'll put the links in the description. Do check him out. KIS-fitness, wasn't it, I believe?
Yeah, KIS-fitness.com or the.robmorgan on Instagram.
I love that.
That's yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really like him. Like I said, I haven't really had that much time conversing with him. I've seen him around a few times and always been polite and said hello, but what a lovely man. What a lovely man. A lovely family, and I wish them all the best. Right, like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram. Not that we've got any. I might do the few pictures. And also make sure you listen to our podcast of positivity that we've decided to do. We're doing one a week, so make sure you listen to that. Yes, Russell, we're doing one a week of positiveness. Don't worry, there's lots of positiveness to come out of life. We will find some like even today, Russell, it's very beautiful weather. The sun's shining and my sun-dried tomatoes are perfect.
I need fucking rain. I want it to rain. Fuck the sunshine.
On that note, Rob Morgan, thank you very much for being a guest. Russell Distance Russell, thank you very much for being a legend of a co-host.
Cheers, buddy. Love you.
All right, love you more, and I'll talk to you soon.
Peace out.